Hello, and welcome to Internship Week. My name is Jan Potzman, and I'm the Assistant Director at the Career Center at CSUN. Today, we have a presentation from Stephen Loya, and he is going to talk about Vanguard and the Vanguard Internship Program. So let's start by launching our poll here. If you could please all answer the poll. This is really helpful for not only our department, so we can provide for you things and things that interest you, but also it's helpful for Stephen to know what you know about the Vanguard program. So let's see, a few more people, if you could just go ahead and fill out the poll for us, please. Great. Okay, let's go ahead and share the results. So as you can see, Stephen, we have 52% that don't know a thing about the program, which is good to know. And then also we have 45% that have a little bit of knowledge about your program. So you're here today to be able to share all of that. Oh,
Yeah, I do see that. I do see that.
okay, so
Hopefully we can go and share some knowledge with them today.
Great. So Stephen Loya is a campus diversity lead, leading Vanguard's early Latinx talent strategy. Within this role, Stephen's primary focus is to increase representation of Latinx talent within the critical talent domains at Vanguard. Stephen started his career with Vanguard back in 2018 as a client relationship associate. He then joined the Emerging Leader Development Program, which rotated him through various departments. Those are great programs. Stephen also supports Vanguard's Hispanic Latinx resource group, HOLA, as the co-lead for the Enrich workstream. Stephen was born and raised in El Paso, Texas, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in finance with a concentration in financial analysis from the University of Texas at El Paso. Stephen currently holds the FINRA Series 7 and 63 licenses and is currently studying for his CFP. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you so much for that, Janice. It's a pleasure to be here today with all of you. Thank you for that fine introduction. And thank you all for participating in the poll. Definitely gives me some good insight into kind of how to steer this conversation. Before we go ahead and kick it off, would love if you all can just kind of type into the chat. Just tell me how you're feeling today. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning here in Scottsdale, Arizona. So we'd love to just kind of know, how are you all feeling today? And I can go ahead and get us started here. So as Janice mentioned, my name is Stephen Loya, and I'm here representing Vanguard. I do have the unique privilege of welcoming one of my colleagues at the second half of this conversation. Her name is McKenna Grow. She is a recruiter, and she is going to be here to kind of answer, all of your questions around some tips and tricks on kind of landing that career at Vanguard. So yeah, thank you everyone. Cold, still rainy, feeling good. Yeah, thank you all. Cold but cozy. I love that. Productive. Thank you all so much for adding these. Keep them coming. I really want this conversation to be as interactive as possible. So I'm going to be sharing a few slides on who Vanguard is. But again, interrupt me, come off mute, come on your camera. Please let me know what questions you all have. So before I begin, if I could get two people to kind of put in the chat, what do you, I know about 50% folks that you don't really know anything about Vanguard internships, but do you know anything at all about Vanguard? If you could just put into the chat what you may or may not know. Active balance is a possibility for interns, okay. My Roth IRA is through Vanguard. Perfect. Stock options, well-known investment firm. I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. And you are all you're all correct. So Vanguard is an asset management company. We are one of the world's largest asset management companies. We offer a series of investment products ranging from mutual funds to ETFs. We provide stocks, bonds to all of our clients. Um, so as I go through this PowerPoint here, you'll kind of get familiar with Vanguard. So to really understand who Vanguard is as an employer, you really have to understand our mission. Our mission is to take a stand for all investors, to treat them fairly, and give them the best chance for investment success. Here at Vanguard, every decision we make, every product we release, everything that we do, we keep in mind our mission statement. It is a mission statement that is true to who we are, because we truly are looking to kind of democratize finance for the everyday investor like you and me. We do this kind of starting with the way we are structured. Our organization is privately held. So as you see there, it says that we are built for investors by investors. What this means is if you were to go out to your stock app right now and look up, Vanguard on the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq or the Dow or any other exchange, you will not find us, and that is because we are privately held. Um, so if you are, so I see here someone has a Roth IRA through Vanguard. If you own Vanguard products in that Roth IRA, you essentially are the boss. You are the reason why we get up every morning. You're the ones that keep the lights on for us, and everything that we do is for your best interest. So we are privately held. Um, Kind of going here to here. So by joining Vanguard, you will be joining an organization who helps change the world invests. On the slide down the road, we talk about kind of our inception and kind of like how we came to be Vanguard and how we came to hold the reputation of being the low cost financial provider. But you'll be changing the way the world invests. You'll be making lasting impacts on millions of folks around the globe. It's not lost on us that as a financial institution, there is a lot of trust that goes into it. Our clients are truly trusting in us with their life savings and those savings are either going towards a wedding or college education for children or grandchildren, or maybe your first home purchase or retirement. So we know that these are big life milestones. So we value that our clients are trusting in us to be a good financial steward to them and help them meet those goals. So by joining Vanguard, you are again helping change the world invests. So here we have a few kind of fast facts. So Vanguard established operations back on May 1st, 1975. And we did so by our late founder, Mr. John C. Bogle, who was a part of the financial institution back in the 1970s. Wall Street was a very, very ruthless place, if you want to call it that. It was, filled with folks who were looking to make the most money. There was outrageous fees, and it was really, truly like only the financial savvy were able to kind of invest. And we set out on a mission to kind of break that mold. We wanted to create a company that allowed the everyday investor like you and I to be able to participate in those, in that financial markets. So he set out to form Vanguard. As I mentioned, we are privately held. So he wanted a company that really doesn't answer to shareholders, but rather answers to our clients. So that is a big form of who we are today still. The great thing about being privately held is that we are able to kind of take the best interests of our clients and make those decisions for them. We do this by offering low costs products. So we have very low expense ratios. What that means is it is the fee to kind of um, uh, to manage those funds. Um, so the first index fund that you see there, most of you may or may not know this. And actually, as I'm kind of going through this, if you don't mind putting into the chat, does anyone know what an index fund actually is or a mutual fund is? Put that into the chat and I can address that there. But we launched our first ever index fund back on August 31st, 1976. So about a year after we started operations. So what an index fund is, and this is the best analogy that I've ever heard from one of my colleagues. If you want to think of an individual stock, right? So let's kind of compare it to creating a salad. So if you are making a salad, you're getting all of your ingredients. You have your lettuce, your tomatoes, your onions, your croutons, your boiled eggs, whatever it is that you throw into a salad, right? You have individual items. Those are going to be your individual stocks. When you add all of those ingredients together into a big bowl and you kind of mix it all up, you throw in your vinaigrette sauce or whatever topping you like on your salad, that is going to be a mutual fund. A mutual fund is taking a little bit of every single stock that is on a exchange, putting it together into one product. So back on August 31st, we launched what is now known today as the S&P 500 mutual fund. So that is taking every stock from the top 500 companies that are on the New York Stock Exchange. We took a little slice of each of those stocks and we put it together into one product. So rather than just owning an individual Apple stock or an individual Meta or Amazon stock, you actually own all 500 companies in one product. So we launched that back in 1976. We actually now have an ETF version. The difference between a mutual fund and an ETF is ETFs trade like individual stocks. So that means that every second and every minute of the day that the New York Stock Exchange is open, prices are going up and down because of people are selling, people are buying. So ETFs, you trade instantly and you know instantly what you are getting. So if your stock is up $15 and you trade it, then you know that you just made a gain of $15. Mutual funds, however, they don't have that up-to-date pricing. They have to wait until the end of the trading day for you to understand kind of what you sold at. So that's just a little bit of difference there. Going on to the next bullet, in 1977, we went no load. This means a lot of times you'll see a product and you'll hear a front end load or back end load. What that means is that's the fee to purchase into the fund or sell out of the fund. So in 1977, we went no load. That means if you ever buy or sell a Vanguard product, you will not be hit with any additional add-on fees to be trading those products there. Another way that we keep our products at low cost for our clients. In 2010, we went what
Okay, Stephen, we lost you. So if you can hear me, we lost you. Folks, just hang on, and hopefully it was just a little glitch on his end. Maybe he lost his internet since I can see he's working from home.
Am I back?
No, you're not back yet.
Hey, Janice, am I back?
No, you're not back. There you are. Okay. Okay.
Hey, Janice, am I back?
Yes, you're back.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. My entire internet just closed out. Apologies for that. Let me bring the screen back up.
Can you hear me,
Technology.
Stephen?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, and we can see you now.
Okay. Again, I apologize for that. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. My entire Google just entirely went down. So technology, but I'm back. So hopefully I didn't miss much. Hopefully you all heard what I had last said. If not, I'll kind of quickly go over that. I had just mentioned that in 2010 we launched our offices around the globe, and this is because we wanted to take advantage of the full 32-hour trading. So the New York Stock Exchange closed at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. However, there's still trading going on after that, and that is in our international market. So 2010 we went international. And then at the top there, I want to kind of talk through where it says the Vanguard effect. This was actually a coined phrase from a third-party source that coined the phrase the Vanguard effect because when we first kind of were let loose on the industry, immediately we saw change because of the way we were structured and the low fees that we were able to offer our clients. it actually kind of forced a lot of our competitors to bring down the fees. So just by the way that we do business, we are able to kind of bring down fees and bring down prices for everyone in the financial industry. So really, really awesome, awesome phrase there. So a little bit about our kind of global footprint. So we have 5 U.S. offices. Our headquarters is in Malvern, Pennsylvania. We have hubs in Charlotte, North Carolina, Dallas, Texas, Scottsdale, Arizona, where I'm located. And then we have a small little hub in Washington, D.C. We have other international offices, as I mentioned, some in London, Australia, Canada, Mexico, just to name a few. And across all of those offices, we have a little over 18,000 employees. But here at Vanguard, we like to stick to a nautical theme. So a lot of the words that you would hear at at other companies, we kind of have them nautical theme related. So rather than calling our employees, we actually call them crew members. So a little over 18,000 crew members. They help service over 30 million clients across 170 countries. So moving on here. So by joining Vanguard, as I mentioned, you'll be joining an industry leader. You'll also be joining an employer who really truly values, you as an individual. We want you to be able to show up with your authentic self and bring your authentic ideas. So you will be able to continuously learn and grow, and you'll just be belonging to a part of a high performing team. By joining Vanguard, you're also able to participate in some of the amazing benefits that Vanguard has to offer. So, I was once a college student myself. If you were anything like me, you probably racked up a good amount of student loans. If you don't and you're on scholarships and grants, great, congratulations. I wish I had, participated in that. But Vanguard understands that, and they want to help you repay some of those student loans. So they offer student loan repayment. They also offer tuition reimbursement. This is if you want to go back and obtain some higher education. So if you want to get your master's, Vanguard will help pay for that. The awesome thing about that benefit is that Vanguard doesn't have like a list of like 10 schools that you need to go to in order to get that. You can go to any university to get that benefit. Really awesome there. So if you wanted to go back to CSUN, get your master's, Vanguard will help you pay for that. Maybe you don't want to get your master's, but you want a certificate. Maybe you want to become a financial advisor and you're interested in getting your certified financial planner designation, or if you want to be a certified financial analyst, Vanguard will help you get those certificates. We do this with partnerships like with Kaplan. So Vanguard will help purchase all of your books, all of your online resources. They will help you get your licensing scheduled or your test date scheduled. They help you take care of all of that. We also have several internal career development resources. We partner with like LinkedIn Learning. There's a platform called Degree Learning where you can learn different skills. So if you are maybe you're a financial advisor, but maybe you want to learn how to code, you want to learn Python. We have some of those resources to kind of help build you up and kind of help build your resume there. Another big thing that I also love to highlight here is we have internal internships. So for those of you who have ever participated in an internship with an employer, think of that, but internally. So if you are, again, a financial advisor, but maybe you want to go check out sales, you can take a small internship from your daily job, go participate with that new division to kind of learn the ins and outs to see, hey, maybe is sales right for me? Is this the next career journey for me? So it's really, really awesome that within one company, you're able to have multiple careers there. Moving on, retirement savings. Obviously, we are a financial institution. We help thousands of folks with their retirement goals. So what good would we be if we don't help our crew members with that? So here at Vanguard, we help you with a 14% match in your 401k, which is, really, really awesome. Not a lot of companies offer that. We do this by 2 ways. Every quarter, 4% gets matched into your 401k, and then at the end of the year, a 10% kind of big chunk gets matched into your 401k there. World-class healthcare coverage. So here at Vanguard, not only do we want to help you for your retirement, but we also know that things happen, right? We get sick, our loved one gets sick, so we offer some of the best benefits there. We have offer medical, dental, vision, and more recently, we did start to offer mental health resources. So we partner with a group called Lyra Health that offers 16 mental health therapy sessions for yourself, in these trying times. Here at every Vanguard site, we have uh, wellness and gym centers. The gym, we call them ship shape. So you're able to go in. We have free weights, machines. We have trainers there, nutritionists. So you're able to kind of get your full blown health goals there. We also have on-site wellness facilities. There we call them crew care. So some of the big things like whenever you're relocating, there's things that you really don't think about at the top of your mind. So when I first moved to Scottsdale, I was kind of thinking like, where am I going to go to the doctor? Where am I going to go, get my, annual shot or whatever have you. We can handle that here on site with us. And then for those of you who are expecting, you and your partners are expecting to bring a child into the world, or maybe you're down the road, you're expecting, we do offer paid parental leave. And I see that my colleague McKenna just joined, so I will quickly start to wrap up here so I can give her the floor. So here at Vanguard, we care about what we call the three C's. That is going to be our clients, which we already kind of covered over. We care about our crew, and then we care about our community. So going into our crew, I won't read all of this, but really what this kind of goes into is um, here what this kind of goes into is just kind of really understanding that Vanguard wants to be a place where all of our crew members feel a sense of belonging and they're able to kind of be their authentic self whenever they walk through those doors. So we are fully committed to create that safe space, and we do so a lot by what you see here. At other companies, they might be called employee resource groups. Here, again, sticking to that nautical theme, we call them crew resource groups. Think of these as your student organizations, right? So these are kind of like our extracurricular activities that we get to participate in, and they are aligned to several affinity groups. Um, won't go over all of them, but I myself, just being a Chicano male from El Paso, quickly gravitated to OLA, which is the Hispanic Latinx Organization for Leadership Advancement. As Janice mentioned, I am part of the leadership team. But the awesome thing is that I am an ally to the remaining of these communities. So I'm able to join them as a member. So I attend all of their events. Today is March 1st. So we just kicked off Women's History Month. So our partners at Wills have a great lineup of events planned for us all of March. We just wrapped up Black History Month. So our partners at Bold, again, amazing events. So this is a really great way to kind of meet folks outside of your normal job, network, and then be a part and get kind of informed of what your fellow crew members are celebrating. As I mentioned, here, Vanguard, we do go ahead and offer mental health resources. So those are available to you. Now, here is the slides that I'm pretty sure all of you are wanting to get to. So here at Vanguard, we try to offer programs at every stage of your academic career. Starting from your first year, we have what's called Explorer programs. These are usually a 1 to 2 day event where you come and really break up this PowerPoint into individual sessions. So you'll hear from senior leaders, you'll hear from recruiters, you'll hear from just everyday crew members to talk about what is it like to work at Vanguard. Going into our second year program, it is called North Star Sophomore Experiential Learning Program. Applications actually just opened up this past Monday for this event. This will be taking place May 16th and 17th virtually, 2 day event. Similar to Explore, you'll hear a lot of the same content. However, day two is where it gets different. You will actually participate in one-on-one sessions with our internship managers to really get a feel for, hey, what does an internship at Vanguard look like? And then the awesome thing is that by being a part of this program, you are guaranteed an interview for our internship, and you actually get kind of first access before we release those internships to the general public. So really awesome program there. Third year, we have our internships. There's more to come on the second slide there about that. And then fourth year, we have full-time opportunities. We offer opportunities in our client-facing roles where I first started my career, and then we have specialty programs here. So I will leave this up for another minute or so. If you guys want to take a screenshot of that, and then feel free to throw your questions into the chat there. All right, so on that last kind of fourth column under full-time roles, we have what's called specialty programs. So all of our specialty programs are aligned to a critical talent domain here at Vanguard. So won't go into the complete name, but I'll just kind of go through the acronym there. So we have AFP. Think of this as your corporate accounting. This is a good program if you're interested in possibly attaining your CPA. This is going to be that role for you. All of these programs that you see here are rotational in nature. So you usually spend about 2 years, give or take, in these programs, rotating across different teams, different divisions, to really understand what is it like to, to work in this space at Vanguard. Each of these programs have an aligned internship, so an internship that feeds directly into that full-time program there. So for our AFP program, it's going to be called C2C, stands for College to Corporate. So it's a financial or a finance internship. The next program is ELDP. This is actually the program that I was a part of. It's really focused on leadership at Vanguard. You spend some rotations doing people leadership and project leadership, and then you get to kind of launch as a leader into the organization. FADP is going to be those studying financial planning, want to become an advisor. This is where you kind of get in there. IMDP, this is the really heavy duty finance. So this is, think of our traders, our portfolio managers, market research. So the folks who are really in love with finance and really want to understand the financial markets, this is going to be that program for you. We have TLP. This is going to be for our folks in STEM related fields. So if you are interested in coding or a developer or an engineer, this is that program for you. And then we don't have it on the slide here. We do need to kind of add it, but we just launched a new data analytics program. So if you are interested in business analytics, data analytics, there is a similar program that you see here for that. So I see Lisa has a question. Are internships available to recent graduates? So they aren't really, because we have those full-time specialty programs. So if you are a recent graduate, I recommend kind of looking at the programs that you see here and then applying to that specialty program. And really, this is just because, our internships are only 10 weeks long. They usually start from about June to August, and then it ends after August. So we want you to stay with us. So we would rather have you do that full-time opportunity. That way you participate in the specialty program, and then you launch into a full-time role after that program is up. But great question, Lisa. Any questions about like who Vanguard is, where we're located, any of the benefits? So you're saying got a question from Luis. It says, so you're saying if we graduated already, we just applied to the specific program? Yes, correct, Luis. So you would just apply to that program. Right now, our 2023 class that is going to be starting this August is already filled up. So we will be releasing the applications to start in 2024 here in the next couple of months. So be on the lookout for those. We actually also do have some other roles that you are able to apply into. So maybe you already graduated and you're looking to start immediately. We have the client relationship associate role. That's the role that I started. Here, you act as a frontline defense to our clients to really understand what are their financial needs, their goals. We get you licensed. So it's a great place to kind of enter into the organization. We also have some sales roles as well. Some advisor support roles. So maybe you want to become a financial advisor, but maybe you didn't study financial planning. This advisor support role is a great role for you there. So I recommend, and I'm going to drop it here into the chat, going to it actually is Vanguard jobs. So I'll put the screen back here. Give me a second. But I'll drop it into the chat here. It's going to be called vanguardjobs.com. This is our careers page. Very, very user friendly. I recommend there's a drop down menu. Just select student, recent graduate. It's going to populate all the jobs that are available for you to apply to right now.
Before
right,
we go to
Daisy.
our next question, we have McKenna Grow joining us. And McKenna, will you go ahead and introduce yourself? There you go. That's okay.
Technical difficulties there. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. My name is McKenna Grow. I'm a recruiter at Vanguard. I've been here for about 4.5 years and started here right after I graduated from school. So I went to the University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona, and started off in one of our client relationship associate roles that Stephen mentioned. So one of the entry-level phone positions. I didn't do an internship or any of the rotational programs, but kind of got my foot in the door there. Worked my way up through a few different positions. We have a very rotational culture here. You're not really pigeonholed into one specific thing. It's up to you on how you want to shape your career. And then went over into recruiting. So love connecting with different people, getting the right people in the right role, and of course, talking about Vanguard. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I think Stephen had said after he's done with his part, we'll kind of open it up to any questions that you may have from a recruiting perspective.
Yep. Thank you, McKenna. So there's a couple more questions in the chat. I'll kind of address those very quick, Janice, and then I know you mentioned that there's a poll that we want to kind of get to, and then we can open it up to McKenna. Is that good? Perfect. So Daisy just asked, if you're currently a senior, can you still apply to the internships? If you are a senior, I would, again, recommend just waiting for those full-time specialty programs applications to open up and then apply to those. I see you answered Trayvon's question. McKenna, thank you. And then are internships remote or in person? So right now, all of our internships are going to be in person. When you are applying to our internships, you have the ability to select which site you'd be interning at. Right now in Arizona, the only internships available are going to be for the Emerging Leader Development Program and the Financial Advisor Development Program. The other 3 internships that you see there are going to be available at our headquarters, which is in Malvern, Pennsylvania, and then in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that is all the questions that I see into the chat. Janice, if you want to open up the poll, and then we can open it up to McKenna to kind of answer some questions around, if you have questions for a recruiter.
I actually have a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So basically, I was trying to understand that you have your offices in like Pennsylvania and stuff. So like, if you're here in LA,
Hello. We can only put questions in the chat because we are live streaming. We're not able to take an audio or a visual. So, sir, if you could please put your question in the chat for us. Thank you. Okay, it looks like, Stephen, you realize that early on when we first were taking this poll, the first poll, I think it was about 50% didn't have any knowledge. And maybe, I don't remember. Do you remember the early part of the poll there? The first poll? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, apologies. Yep. Yeah, no, I recall about 50%, correct? About 52% had no knowledge whatsoever of Vanguard. So
okay, so we can see
50.
here. They really have learned a great deal from you.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you all were able to take something away from this. Again, I love speaking and connecting with folks. So I just dropped my LinkedIn to the chat here again. So please feel free to connect with me if you have any questions about applying, about Vanguard, where we're located, anything like that. Feel free to connect with me there. And then with that, I will hand it over to McKenna, and I'll be sticking around too. So if you have questions for me, I'll be here as well.
Great, thank you. Yeah, as I mentioned, I'm a recruiter here. I started off recruiting for more of our entry-level space, so I've got a lot of knowledge about what we're looking for some of those entry-level positions, as well as kind of like what career pathing looks like. Stephen, I'll keep you on here to help with some of the internship questions, as I don't know a whole lot about that process, but happy to answer any questions that you may have about what the interview process looks like or best practices. Stephen, I did see a question come through from Trayvon. Are living expenses covered?
Gotcha. Yep. Thanks for sharing that. So they are to an extent, I would say. So depending on where you apply for the internship, we do partner with, so I know for internships at our Malvern office, I know we do partner with Villanova to offer student housing. We also offer transportation from Villanova campus to the Vanguard campus, there and back all week. And then it is a paid internship. So what you do get paid, we do, you are able to cover your pretty much eating expenses, and then any sort of, I would say, ad hoc experiences that you participate in. I know a lot of times some of the interns kind of get together and do like a night out in Philadelphia because it's so close to Malvern. That wouldn't be covered by Vanguard. That would be something that you would have to pay for. But yeah, I would say we do cover some of those expenses for you, and then there are some that we do ask that you pay for out of pocket.
Thank you. Thanks for answering that, Stephen.
Yeah, of course.
So I can just share, as we're waiting for some of these questions to come in, some best practices. I'd say, as you're starting to kind of look into different roles in companies, do a lot of research on their mission statement and look at Glassdoor, look at their LinkedIn page and see what some of their employees are having to say. Does the company culture and mission and what they're doing for their employees align with what you're looking for? Is it something that you're going to be passionate about and go to bed at night feeling like you're doing something good, right? So, and that really goes a long way as you're going through the interview process. Especially, let's say there's maybe 2 or 3 candidates that are all kind of in the same playing field. If you are very passionate about coming to, let's say, Vanguard or another company, it goes a long way. That could differentiate you from someone else. So do your research. I cannot echo that enough. Ask a lot of good questions as you're going through the interview process or talking with a recruiter like myself. As much as we're interviewing you as the candidate, you're interviewing us. So again, you want to make sure that this is going to be a good fit for you. So ask about like, hey, what does success in the role look like? What is the career development opportunities, the growth? Because that's important, right? You want to know that you've got a clear line of sight into what your next step could be. And does the company value that? Because some I've heard, maybe they just want to have you stay in one role. And as maybe you're a new graduate, you want to have other opportunities to ask those questions.
So
what about
I have
any?
a question.
Oh, sorry.
I have a
Go ahead,
question,
Stephen.
McKenna. No worries. So CSUN is actually going to be hosting their spring career fair next week. So can you just talk a
Awesome.
little bit about like what is the best way to show up to a career fair? Like what are some things that I should be taking? What are some good questions that I should be asking? And what would be your advice on like if you see a company that maybe you're unfamiliar with? How do you kind of approach them?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I cannot encourage you enough to just put yourself out there. Before the career fair they should be sending you a list of what different companies will be there, and just start doing some preliminary research, kind of get a feel of, okay, maybe these are a few that I'm interested in. If you've got some top ones, do more research on that. So when you go up to them, you can say, hey, I know this and this about your company. Can you tell me a little bit more about X, Y, and Z? Again, it shows that you're taking this seriously, but it's also okay if you don't know anything. It's okay to say, hey, I've never heard of your company. Here's kind of what I'm interested in. Can you share a little bit more about what you do or your experience? As far as what to bring, you want to dress professionally. It's going to be your first impression when you're meeting with some of these recruiters. So as what we say at Vanguard, dress for your day. So dress as if it's kind of like a formal meeting with these folks. I would bring a copy of your resume. I'd bring maybe a notebook to be able to take notes. And then I'd also have your phone with you because, Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of places now they'll have like QR codes that you can scan or ways that you can sign up via your phone. So if you have that, bring that as well.
Yep, correct. And honestly, don't, like, to that point with your phone, don't be afraid. Like if you're at the career fair, you see a company that you're just really unfamiliar with, you have a phone, pull it out, go to the internet, just type them up real quick, see what you can learn about them, and then go and talk to those recruiters there. There was a chat that says, will Vanguard recruiters be at the career fair? Yes, we will have myself and a few other recruiters there at the career fair. So please stop by our booth. We will be more than happy to talk to you. I'm actually going to be dropping a link into the chat here also. This is a form that allows us to kind of capture your name, your email. If you're interested in applying to Vanguard, please share your information with us. And that information goes to recruiters just like McKenna, and they will be reaching out to you.
Yep. Oh, yeah. As a student graduating, so I would say really your best bet is going to be, one, connect with Stephen and I on LinkedIn. Before we go, I'll put a link to my LinkedIn in there as well. But keep an eye on our career site. Your best bet is just going to apply, and then you could send a message to myself or Stephen and say, hey, I applied to this. You can also start doing some research on LinkedIn and maybe look up some people who are in those current programs and try to connect with them. I've seen a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, I see you work at Vanguard. I'm a University of Arizona graduate. Would just love to hear about your experience. And I'm like, man, that's really cool that they're doing that. And that's kind of our company culture here, is just encouraging, building people up. We want to talk about, what we're doing at Vanguard. So unless they're just not checking their LinkedIn, there's going to be people who are happy to talk with you.
Yeah, there was another question that says, how can we apply for these internships opportunities if we're interested? McKenna hit the nail on the head. Be kind of just constantly looking at our LinkedIn, our careers page. We will promote those as soon as those applications open up. Follow me on LinkedIn. I try my best to reshare as many opportunities as possible there. But yeah, just follow folks. You could also just search the hashtag #LifeAtVanguard. That will also bring up all of our roles that we are promoting on LinkedIn. But again, if you are interested in a specific role, so maybe it's like a developer type role, and you want to just talk to someone to see, hey, what does a day in the life look like there? I'm more than happy to connect with you with someone who does that for their day job, and they can share a little bit about what that's like.
Yeah, it's a good question. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Any other questions for McKenna?
Yeah. Any other questions that you have? Burning questions that you need to have answered this very moment? Remember the question you have. There will be other students that are thinking that same question, but don't feel comfortable putting it in the chat. But the more that you can put out there and ask those questions, that's just a way of also you're engaging with the two, it's both Stephen and McKenna as recruiters, and as specialists in different areas. I mean, I was impressed when I heard how many licenses Stephen has. Nobody asked a question about that. I was like blown away. I was, to me, I would like to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So here at Vanguard, again, we are a financial institution at heart. So majority of the roles that we offer do require licenses. The most uh, popular ones that we obtain are now the SIE exam, the Series 7 exam, and the Series 63 exam. Really, the SIE is, I would say, like the Series 7's little brother. Where they kind of pull apart some topics and kind of test you on that. And then your Series 7 is kind of like the older sibling, which kind of goes really deep dive into securities like stocks and options and just kind of the ins and outs of everything like that. Your Series 63 is going to be the ethics portion, really making sure that you know the financial rules of being in the financial industry. Some other licenses that we offer are the Series 6, the Series 24, the Series 66. Those all have a special function. And then, again, as I mentioned, I am studying for my CFP, so I am hoping to take that later this year. That is to be able to offer financial advice. That kind of gives you that credibility there.
Yeah, no, that was a really good question, Jan. And it made me think of another point that I get asked a lot of like, hey, what if I don't have any finance background? Totally okay. That's kind of what drew me to Vanguard is everyone here has a different background. A lot of people came here without any finance history or background like myself. So I majored in retail science or retail and consumer sciences, and then went kind of the more finance route at first. I went through the licensing, and we do everything we possibly can to support you get through that. So we'll pay for all of the studying materials. We'll have coaches that you can work with. And if there's maybe a certain area of the material that you're struggling with, we've got those licensing teams that you can partner with or specialists in that area. And Vanguard does everything to help you be successful. So Don't be intimidated if you don't have that finance background, but you're interested. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So got tons of questions in the chat here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I love it. So I'll go ahead and answer Tim's question. He asked, would Vanguard hire mental health interns or paralegal interns? So if you're majoring in those areas like psychology or pre-law, we will hire you as the internships that you saw on the slide, but we don't have like a paralegal internship available or a mental health internship available. But if you're majoring in those subjects, we do hire you. The awesome thing about Vanguard is, like McKenna mentioned, like we aren't, yes, we're looking for the students who major in finance, but we don't restrict our roles for just finance majors. Any background, we welcome you. I always tell this to folks, like we have a really proven track record of teaching folks the finance. We have a great internal team that teaches that. They're passionate about that. So if you're studying those different subjects, yeah, you're more than welcome to apply there.
And Stephen, were those programs full for this summer?
So for this summer, they are going to be full. So we will be soon applying, kind of releasing the application for the 2024 cadre class there. If you are looking for like roles immediately, I'll say again, connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's schedule a quick 30-minute chat just so I can get an understanding of like what role you're interested in, and I can make sure to kind of funnel those roles to you that are available today.
And then I can take the next couple questions. So one I see is, could you explain a little bit about the interview process for entry-level jobs? A lot of it is going to be behavioral-based questions. So at Vanguard, we typically use the format, it's called the STAR format, stands for situation, task, action, and result. So it's a lot of, hey, tell me about a time when you worked with a difficult classmate, or tell me about a time that you failed or didn't complete a project. If you look up behavioral interview questions on Google, there's a whole slew of different ones that you could expect. I'd say as you start prepping, one, I can guarantee you at Vanguard or any other place, they're going to ask, tell me what you know about our company, as I mentioned before, why you want to work there, and then behavioral interview questions. So I'd start brainstorming things that you're really proud of that you accomplished at school or at work or extracurriculars. Like coming up with little bullet points of, okay, this was a project that was really tough that I led and shows leadership skills, or this shows my time management skills. So that way you're not as caught off guard when you get a question of, hey, tell me about a time you led a project, right? Kind of piggybacking off of that, I also get asked, like, what if I don't have any internship experience? I had to work through college. That's great. Don't sell yourself short. A lot of those skills that people are getting through an internship, you might or very well be getting that at work. So don't sell yourself short. They're not looking for some grand example. They're just wanting to see that you're going to have like those leadership, work ethic, communication skills that you would bring and transfer into a position at Vanguard. Stephen, did you want to add anything else onto that?
No, I think that's. I mean, I think you hit it, right there. I would say utilize Google. I mean, Google is going to be your best friend when preparing for any interview. McKenna had mentioned like Glassdoor. Like a lot of people like put out that information of like, hey, I did an interview with a company X. They utilize the STAR method. Here's how I answered it. So utilize that there. And yeah.
I'd like to just add one thing.
Sure, yeah,
You can come
thank you.
to the Career Center and you can talk to, you can come to our drop-in hours. We have drop-ins on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We have both virtual and in-person drop-ins, and you can ask questions about interviews.
Wow.
We also have Career Link, which has a lot of really good information about interviewing. The STAR method is a really, it's used very frequently in interviews, and you could see they use it at Vanguard. They want to know, how are you going to react in a certain situation? And behavioral questions kind of will give that type of answer. And you can practice with us. And so know that we have resources for you at the Career Center.
That's great. Yeah, definitely take advantage of that. You cannot prepare enough for these interviews, and it's only going to get easier as you either do a practice one or you interview a round. So take advantage of that. I saw a question come in about prepping for those certifications. So take a look at, I'll put it in here. It's called FINRA. That's who sponsors the certifications. And so the SIE, what that Stephen was talking about, that one you don't have to be sponsored by a firm to take. You can take that on your own. They've got a bunch of coursework that you can do online or purchase study materials. I'm sure they've got YouTube videos out there that would also help you as well for some of the more challenging topics. So you can take the SIE on your own, and that looks absolutely phenomenal if you're wanting to definitely go into the finance industry, to say, hey, I took it upon myself to already take the SIE, and it shows that you've got the grit to get through that and go on to the Series 7. But if you don't have the time or capacity, not a problem. It would be good to just start doing some research on it. So if you're talking with a recruiter like myself, I'm going to say, hey, have you done any research on the exams? Do you know what you're getting yourself into? And you can say, yes, I've looked into it. I'm ready to take on that process. The Series 7, you do have to be sponsored by a firm in the industry, so you can't do that on your own. But if you were to start looking at the SIE material or complete that, it's going to have a lot of the same information and get you ready for the Series 7.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then just to add,
go ahead.
Really quickly, sorry, I didn't just to add on that. There's also a bunch of podcasts that you can listen to. They talk you through some of those topics. There's a few apps. One in particular is called Finance, and it actually has like some good study questions for you to kind of go into there.
Okay, we have one more question that we can take, and then we need to wrap up for today.
Yeah, let's see.
Why don't we answer Trayvon's question, McKenna, around like, is it usually one interview? Is there multiple?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, Stephen, I'm going to ask you for a little help on some of those
Yeah.
rotational programs.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
quite as familiar with, but as far as like the client relationship associate or more of like the entry level positions as you filter on our site that are for new grads, it's typically just one. And if there is a second interview, feel free to ask like, hey, do you have any recommendations or feedback for my first interview? The recruiter is there to help you and be your advocate. So they want to help you succeed. So go ahead and ask for help. Stephen, I don't know about, unfortunately, about VADP or anything like that.
Yeah, so for a lot of the specialty programs, there is usually like a case study tied to your second round interview. This can come in the form of like, we've done group interview sessions, so you're actually interviewing a group, and the hiring managers are actually looking to see like, how well do you interact with others? Like, are you able to kind of bring others along in the conversation? There is a hacker rank where they kind of test you on some of your coding abilities. That's more for the TLP program. But yeah, usually a case study assigned to it. As McKenna mentioned, they aren't going to throw you into that interview blindly. They will provide you all of the materials, whether there is a pre-read or just instructions on how to best prepare for that material. They'll send that over to you prior to that interview for you to review.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I want to say thank you to both Stephen and McKenna for their insight. And I want you as students to really think about something. They're here for you. The only reason why they're here is because they're interested in CSUN students. And so reach out to them. They're saying, reach out to me on LinkedIn. We can chat, we can have a conversation. Do that, because the more you do that, the more you will learn and grow and build relationships. So again, I'd like to thank both Stephen and McKenna. We look forward to having you at the job fair next week. Our job fair is actually on March 7th. So that's Tuesday, March 7th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And so students, please come to the job fair and meet with Stephen and his team. You'll have an opportunity to do that. Stephen, Vanguard is actually our gold sponsor at the Career Center. So they really wanted to connect with our school and our students. So I really encourage you to come. Also, we do have 2 more sessions today. And those sessions are micro internships with Parker Dewey, and then followed by the CSU Entertainment Alliance. Both of those sessions are going to be really exciting and full. And then tomorrow, I strongly encourage you to come to our last day of internship week, and it's actually resume makeover. And you can come and spend 10 minutes with either a recruiter, an industry professional, or a career counselor or peer, and we'll be critiquing your resume. So they're really ready to go for the job fair for next week. So again, thank you all for coming today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the great participation. Thanks for having us.